Hi, Mike.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
All right.
So I wanted to ask you about Wayfair and its impact on income taxes. As we know, back in 2018 in the summer, the Wayfair case was decided. And that case said states could impose nexus on companies if they had economic presence in the state for sales tax purposes. How have we seen states address that for income tax purposes?
Yeah, this is really a trend that's been going on for years now. I think maybe California was the first state to adopt a factor presence, what we call a factor presence economic nexus threshold, whereby an out-of-state company has a filing obligation, has nexus in the state based on a certain amount of in-state receipts. And that's certainly the trend. And I think with Wayfair, you're going to see more and more states adopting factor presence nexus thresholds. Currently, in addition to California, you've got Connecticut and Colorado, New York State, Tennessee. There are also gross receipt states like Ohio and Washington that have those thresholds. And we've seen in 2019, Hawaii adopted factor presence nexus threshold. And in the past 2 months, there have been 3 states going in that direction too. Massachusetts just issued a regulation adopting a $500,000 of in-state receipts threshold for out-of-state companies. Pennsylvania issued a tax bulletin announcing a new change in policy, also adopting a $500,000 receipt threshold. And Texas has proposed regulations as well.
So with all this coming out now on economic nexus for income tax purposes, anything that clients and companies should be aware of relative to economic nexus for income tax purposes, anything they should make sure they understand before they go down that path?
Yeah, I think it's really important to really keep track of developments in this area. There's just a lot of movement. I'm sure there's going to be additional cases at some point. And you should also keep in mind that traditional forms of nexus are still applicable, right? So physical presence nexus, agency nexus, corporate partner nexus through a partnership that has nexus in the state, those are still relevant in addition to factor presence.
How do you think companies should address Public Law 86272 in the context of economic nexus?
It's really interesting. I think 86272 is still relevant. It's a federal law, so it trumps, trumps many state laws. So it's still something that companies need to address and make sure that they still fall under the requirements of PL 86272. I think one wrinkle, one thing that companies should keep in mind is that with the majority of states now having enacted unitary combined reporting statutes, you could have a company in your structure that has nexus, and it can pull in other affiliates that are engaged in a unitary business with them into the return. So even if a company does not have nexus, they may still end up in a combined return as a result of those rules too.
Right. Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you talking about economic nexus and Wayfair on the income tax side.
Thank you, Nick. Anytime.